Chocolate chip cookies. Ruth Wakefield did not invent the chocolate chip cookie on purpose. She was running the Toll House Inn in Massachusetts in 1938 and broke a bar of semi-sweet chocolate into small pieces, expecting them to melt completely into her cookie batter, the way they always had before. The oven proved her wrong. The pieces softened but kept their shape, creating little pockets of chocolate inside each cookie that nobody had tasted before. Her guests loved them more than anything she had served before. Nestle struck a deal with Ruth, giving her a lifetime supply of chocolate in exchange for the recipe. That same formula has been printed on Nestle chip bags for over 80 years. Potato chips. The potato chip was born in a moment of frustration, not creativity. In 1853, in Saratoga Springs, New York, a cook named George Crumb was repeatedly sent back by a dining customer who complained his fried potatoes were too thick and too soggy. Crumb sliced a fresh batch paper thin, dropped them into boiling oil, and salted them heavily, expecting the customer to hate them. The customer loved them. Word spread through the restaurant, then through the town. Within decades, they were being packaged and sold across the northeastern United States under the name Saratoga chips. The global potato chip industry is now worth over $30 billion annually and shows no signs of slowing. Cheese. Nobody sat down and invented cheese. The most widely accepted explanation is that early humans stored fresh milk inside pouches made from animal stomachs during long journeys. Those stomachs naturally contained rennet, an enzyme that causes milk proteins to separate and clump into soft solids. When travelers opened their pouches hours later, the liquid had transformed into something edible and surprisingly good. The same accident repeated itself across ancient Europe, Central Asia, and the Middle East independently, which is why cheese traditions developed on multiple continents with no contact between them. Rennet remains the key ingredient in nearly every hard-aged cheese made today, from Italian Parmesan to English cheddar. Champagne. For most of its early history, the bubbles in champagne were considered an embarrassment. Winemakers in the Champagne region of northern France in the 1600s were genuinely trying to eliminate the fizz, viewing carbonation as a sign that something had gone wrong during production. Bottles were exploding in cellars. The pressure inside was uncontrollable. What changed the story was not French innovation, but English glass. British glassmakers had developed bottles thick enough to survive internal pressure, and French sparkling wine shipped into England in those stronger bottles held together perfectly. English drinkers fell in love with the bubbles first. French producers only began marketing the fizz as a luxury feature after they saw how well it sold across the channel. Coca-Cola, the drink that became one of the most recognized products on Earth, was originally designed to be a medicine. Atlanta pharmacist John Pemberton created the syrup in 1886, intending to sell it as a remedy for headaches and fatigue. It was meant to be mixed with plain water. The carbonated version happened when a soda fountain assistant reached for the wrong tap and mixed the syrup with sparkling water instead. Customers at the counter preferred the fizzing version immediately. Pemberton sold portions of his ownership in the formula multiple times before his death to cover personal debts, ultimately receiving almost nothing from what became a global empire. Nachos. Nachos were invented in about 10 minutes by a man who had no chef and no menu to work from. In 1943, in Piedras Negras, Mexico, a maitre d' named Ignacio Anaya was left alone in a restaurant after the kitchen had closed for the night when a group of American military wives arrived hungry from across the nearby Texas border. With no cook available, Anaya went into the kitchen himself, cut tortillas into triangles, covered them with shredded cheese and sliced jalapenos, and put them under the broiler until the cheese melted. He named the dish after his own nickname, Nacho. The women loved it, told others, and the recipe spread into Texas restaurants within years. Today, nachos are sold in stadiums and cinemas across dozens of countries worldwide. Popsicle. One of the world's most popular frozen treats was created by an 11-year-old boy who simply forgot about a drink he had left outside. Frank Epperson mixed a flavored powder with water on a cold San Francisco night in 1905, left a wooden stick sitting in the cup, and walked away without thinking about it. The temperature dropped overnight. By morning, the mixture had frozen solid around the stick, creating a handle that made it possible to hold and eat the ice without touching it at all. Epperson held on to the idea for 18 years before finally applying for a patent in 1923 and selling the rights to a company that took the product nationwide. He called his original version the Epsicle.